to this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta.
Pasta. I didn't know I was supposed to fill in the title of our
As you can
podcast.
tell, we don't rehearse this at all. We're going to try it again just for you kids. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Pickles and
Pasta.
with Jay and...
Steph.
See? We're just going to do it all over the place today. This is the kind of day it's so apropos because we've been having this whole week has been like this.
It's been a weird week.
This
Yeah.
whole week
It's been a really weird
been
week.
like what just happened. It's hilarious. So of course the opening to this episode is there. So this is what it's all about. This is real. Okay, it's unrehearsed. It's just us. It's just a culmination of stuff that we think about and we talk about, and then we decide to share it with you. And we're really, really, really grateful that you endure this, and hope that it's helpful in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. It's just like little interesting things. Like it's nothing like bad or anything. It's just like regular bad stuff, regular good stuff, whatever. But it's just been like this little
Yeah. Just a little bit of weirdness.
yeah.
A little bit of weirdness in the air.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's everywhere. Yeah, but it's okay. Part of life is adapting to these things. Part of certainly for me. And any real New Yorker, that's what it is. We adapt. That's one of the things I've always said. Like one of the things I love about being here, and it's just we adapt. Like oh, the street's closed. Okay, sure, we'll find we'll get another way. Oh, I can't get into my building. That's okay. I'll figure out another way. It's actually on the way back last night from that premiere. The street was closed. Like it was weird. Like 23rd Street was closed. I don't know what was going on. I didn't see anything.
The street was closed or the stop was closed?
No, the street. The street was closed. I got out of the train and the street was closed. Like it was closed. Like just totally closed. And there weren't any construction trucks on. I don't know what the hell was going on. So
weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It happens. But that's the thing. Like it happens, and you're like, okay. I'm like, you get being annoyed or whatever. You're like, okay, and then you just figure out a different way. So anyway, thank you for joining. If this is your first episode, buckle up. If you're a returning visitor, thank you really for being here. Anything on your mind before we jump into our topics? Anything you wanted to share?
Nope. Let's get right into it. We got a big show.
We got a big show. Big show. Big show. So we're going to start off with our topics of the week. We're going to start with the first one, which is an interesting one because it definitely has come up a lot.
Yeah.
This what we're calling like the vanishing promise of like, we were raised and we were promised certain things, like, well, if you do this and you do this, then this is how this is going to play out. And if you do this and blah, 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 whatever. And that kind of worked out okay for like generations. Maybe not okay is the right word because things don't always go that way. But like it was kind of okay, right? Like you were told, well, if you do these things, then these things will happen. And if you dress this way, then this thing will happen. And if you learn this thing will happen. And for the most part, for a lot of people, that kind of worked because the world didn't move as quickly as it's been moving at an accelerated pace. Now, that's a little bit different. It's kind of not so easy, right? To say, well, if you do this and this in 10 years, this is what's going to happen. And you're like, 10 years? I don't know what's going to happen in 4 years, 3 years. So I think it's interesting because, parents do this. Our parents, our grandparents did this, and then we did it. And I don't know, I think it's an interesting thing of like these things that we were told just aren't really happening, and like what that means and how that affects us and how that affects the people we care about.
Yeah, it's like the formula. There was a formula that people in general followed to have a good life. Do good in school, participate in extracurricular activities, learn how to, play an instrument, be on a group sports team, go to a decent college, you know, find your husband in your 20s or your wife in your 20s, have kids in your late 20s, early 30s, blah, blah, blah. And as a mother to two young women in their late 20s, it is clearly evident that that formula doesn't work anymore. I think I started to see this change with the beginning of COVID. My oldest daughter was just a year, maybe 2 years into her first job when COVID happened. And,
Right.
like that was the craziest thing to have a, a daughter who was living in a town in upstate New York, and she had a job and she was living there alone, didn't have any friends there. And what do you tell them when
Yeah,
the
like she
world?
didn't go to school there. Like even that right there is kind of out of whack, right? Like she went to school one place, she got her job in a totally different place. She's kind of
Mhm.
alone there, and
Mhm.
then COVID hits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, but basically from that point on, we were all faced with really difficult situations. And that was kind of the beginning of two sides of an issue. Is COVID real? Is COVID fake? Should you wear masks? Should you not wear masks? Should you get vaccinated? And then this whole shitstorm of dialogue has kind of never ended since then. And, now you're looking at this formula, and is this formula valid at all anymore? And I'm questioning, I don't think it is.
well, it's if you look at how many people are doing something for a living that is not what they learned in school, not what they went to school for. It's some are new
Exactly.
jobs that just didn't even exist, right? There's some new professions,
Absolutely.
new things that just don't exist. But
Yeah.
I mean, your two girls, they're not doing what they went to school for, right? I
Well,
mean,
no,
not
they're
really.
not. But a lot of people don't do what they go to school for. They get a major because you have to have a major. That's kind of been a problem, I think, for a really long time, because a lot of people would be saying, well, you're going to graduate in one field, but don't worry, you don't really, you can do something else. Or
But that's moronic.
I know, but it was kind of going on for a long time in that state. So people like Allegra graduated with an economics major. She's, obviously not an
Not doing
economist.
anything that an econ major would be doing. Like,
No, she's not. She's not. But I think now, like for a while, it was kind of like just that's the way it was, and no one really said or did anything about it. But now, you literally don't have to go to college to earn a living, because there have been, like you said, new things created that didn't exist 6 years ago. And people are making a lot of money doing these things. So,
I give college 20 years on the outside.
I mean, I think it's good that there's a less of an emphasis on it, because the cost of college has just gotten
Well,
out of control.
here's this is the I mean, I remember we having this conversation, and we had this with somebody else just recently. So there's the beginning of the problem, right? So back, if you go back again, right, when
Hmm.
you went, let's say your grandparents or parent, whatever, and they're like, well, you're going to go to school. It's going to cost this amount of money, which, there was, you could pay for that. You could get loans for that. And you could
Hmm.
pay that within a reasonable amount of time. Like
Yeah.
there was a trajectory. Like that was the promise, right? The promise was you're going to make this investment. So you're going to go into debt, which is okay, a little bit. You're going to get a job, which is going to be okay. You're going to be able to save a little bit. You're going to be able to pay back your debt. Then you'll get to this other place and you're going to have a family and da da da. And so there was this like, even though there were little curves and it wasn't like there's literally no chance that you can pay this back based on the job that you just got. Like there's no chance. Like it's practically impossible for some
Well,
people.
unless you're in a finance bro,
That's what I'm
you know.
saying. So, but right. So there's very few things. Either you hit it big, you joined a startup that becomes a unicorn, just something. Of course, those things. But you don't need to go to school for that, right? Like
Yeah.
if you join a unicorn, if either you're the person who has this genius idea, you didn't need to go to school. If you were lucky enough or friends enough or got the opportunity to work at that company, you don't need that MBA for that, right? That's not you were there because whatever other skills you had as a human. Right there is where it breaks down. So at some point, when there's enough people that can't pay that back, they're not going to tell their kids, you got to do this, right? They're not going to tell that next generation, or that next generation on their own is going to be like, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't want to do that. I
Hmm.
don't want to live the life you live. Like, it's one thing, I think it's natural. It's like the way it is. Like you're born, you get older, you grow up, whatever. You have kids, and then your kids, of course, think they know better than you, and just like you thought you knew better than your parents. But there was a reasonable connection to that. There was like
Hmm.
you knew better than your parents, but you also knew they knew something. Whereas it got to the point of like, my parents don't know shit because they did this and it didn't work out well for them. And then they made me do this and it's not working well for me. I'm not going to do that. And so it's got to change in some way. And it's a question of like, what is the promise that we make now going to our future generations? Like, what do you have to, it's a responsibility as a parent or as an adult to help the next generation. Like that's just it's evolution, right? Like you got to do that.
Hmm.
But how do you guide them in a way that they're inspired and they can do what they want to do or can do and add value to society and to the universe to make the world better for them, not just for them, but for everybody. And that's
Yeah.
that's that's the tricky part. I think it's a really, really tricky part.
Yeah. So I think one of the questions we have to ask is what is really needed today? Is it grit? Is it skill? Is it connections? What are the things that matter in today's world to get ahead and to have a decent life?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think you just even as we're talking about it, and I've been on this college thing for a long time, and I don't mean it like I don't mean it to be an asshole or anything. And I know there's a lot of people that go to school, and it's really great that they do, and they really learn something, and God bless them that they did, and they add value to society. I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm just saying that there's a majority of people that end up going there because that's what you're supposed to do, without a understanding, and they come out with really just very limited skills. So it's just the way the system is, and it's just not good. But when you think about it, and the stuff you're talking about, which I agree with, like grit and how to network and how to make friends and how to develop relationships and empathy and all sorts of, becomes a greater importance to teach that at the earliest possible age. And I don't mean when you're 4 years old or 5 years old, because you should be a kid and you should be able to be a kid as long as you can be a kid.
Hmm.
I actually I'm still a kid and I'm fine with it. But you know, kids should be able to do kid stuff. But as early as we're starting to get to that point of molding and teaching and training and guiding, that's when that stuff becomes important. And if we could do that in a really good way, it's just totally doable. It's totally doable that when kids get out of whatever that is, 8 years, 12 years of education, that they're good. Like they are good now to then pursue what they pursue. And there are enough already online courses or places you can go for further education without having this like restrictive college sort of thing that is not necessarily benefiting everybody. And again, I think it can still exist, just not in the same model that it is now. I mean, I'm putting aside because I do believe we will stop the really bad things that certain people are trying to teach kids, and the negative things that teachers unions and teachers are doing. I'm putting that aside for the sake of this conversation, because that's going to get eliminated. Like, we're not going to stand for that as a society, for these bad players that are trying to teach people bad things. That's fuck that. That's got to stop. I'm just
Hmm.
talking about the concept of really good education and teaching just good things, to younger students.
Hmm.
I think that will be the game changer. And then it'll be easier for us to grow together. Like the adults and the kids can grow more together, and we can come to this better place of understanding that we can learn as much from them as they can learn from us. And it
Oh,
starts to change that dynamic.
I totally believe that. I learned so much from my children, and I know that even though sometimes I don't think my mom wants to admit it, I think I teach her things too.
Sure.
And she may be listening to this, so mom, we can chat about this later. But I do think that, you know, it doesn't matter, which generation you're part of. Like the life experience that we all get in our own way can influence other generations and vice versa. And there's stuff
Yeah.
to learn in every way. I do
Yeah.
think, though, and I'm wondering, this is a question to you, because I know you're such a fan of remote working. I feel like too much remote working hinders young people's ability to know how to navigate in person conversations and how to go after, an in person interview and in person meetings and navigate that. I think that it's really important for young people to know how to reach out to people they want to learn from and see if they can have an informational interview. Like how do the kids in today's world that are having a hard time getting their first job out of college navigate, the workforce from a remote place with not many jobs being available? Like, what kind of advice do can we share to people in those situations?
So, so just for clarity's or clarification's sake, yes, I did remote before remote was a thing, but not full time. And I'm not a big fan. I mean, I think I'll get to that in a second. On a general basis, if you're in the same place, then I think it shouldn't be remote all the time. I don't think people should be just in their rooms or in their apartments or in their places or going to the coffee shop. I know. I think that as often as you can get together when it makes sense, I think it's a great thing to have. I think just the energy, even if you're just sitting across from each other or sitting next to each other, just the energy of having somebody else there, I think is really, really positive. But I don't think it's required all the time. And I think to your question of like how do we help, I think that people aren't taught what to do.
I
People
know.
aren't taught in school, in high school, in middle school. I mean, I didn't have middle. I had a different scenario because of the yeshiva and pub, whatever shit. But that whole thing of like, let's say from elementary to middle to high school, that they're not taught any of that stuff. They're not. They don't do a class on how to network. Let's create a mock event, and everybody has to kind of network with each other and learn from each other. Like you could do that. You could easily
Yeah.
teach those things. You could teach. You could get like people like which they call super connectors or these networking experts, whatever. They could come in and do a class. Like they could come in and do a mock networking conference to see how to do it. And the kids could go up there and do presentations, and they could learn how to do, you know, keynotes, and they could. I mean, that's great education. Like that becomes very valuable. Then they can also learn of course, learn math and learn English or whatever language, all these
Hmm.
sort of things. Yes, of course, I think those things are valuable. And yes, school is a great place for that. But again, you can also learn a language remotely. You can learn it through an app. You can learn it through a tutor who could be in another country. Like it's finding the balance. And I think it's too much of this. It has to be this way. It has to be that way sort of thing. I mean, I said this to you when COVID started, and I said it to you all the way through. And I used to say it to as many people that I was talking to and would listen. It's like, this is a prime opportunity to fix education once and for all. This is it. This is a gift from the heavens. This is the greatest gift from the heavens to actually fix this. Kids are forced into this remote situation. It's not going to last forever. We can work right now while there's nobody in the classroom to fix the classroom. We can fix how the setup is. We can fix how the schedules will be. We can fix this now. And instead, what do?
We
Nothing.
fought about vaccines.
What? Yeah, I mean, it's just craziness. Like it was such a golden opportunity. And remember when people used to say, "Oh, I just want to go back to the way it was from," and I always used to like get in their face and be like, "Stop saying that. Stop saying that. We don't want to go back. Nobody in society wants to go back. You want to go forward. Like either stay where you are or go forward. But this going back stuff, and we really screwed ourselves with that. So I think there are a lot of really intelligent people working on the future of education and the future of work. And I mean, I have a couple of friends that are doing that, different friends doing different things. And I think that that's the future for sure. And then because we'll be learning and activating at the same time, we will be able to guide future. We will be able to guide, here's what's logical for the next 5 or 10 years. Like the 20-year thing is not going to be realistic, I don't think. But we will be able to guide in a better way. And I think that would be tremendously valuable. I think it'll once we get through that and get rid of some of these old negative, small minded thinking, I think we'll get to a much better place. I think.
Yeah, but for the kids right now who have either graduated in the last couple of years or are coming up to graduating in the next couple of years, this is a very sticky time.
So this is
And
when they have to grab people like you and me. No, okay, not you and me, because they're not going to find two people like you and me. But they've got to find people in their world to say, "Hey, can you come to this conference with me?" Or "Hey, can you come to this event with me and show me how you do what you do?" Like that's what they have to do. They have to take a little initiative there too, and we have to look at them and say, "Hey, let me invite you to this thing I'm going to."
yeah, but Jay, they're not even looking at this stuff. They're on their phones and they're searching for jobs on LinkedIn, and that's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah, but that's fine. They could that's fine, but they still have to learn those other skills, and they'll learn those skills by being out and about. You don't think so? You don't think that because you just think that they don't even think to ask those questions. They don't even think to ask someone like you or me or whoever else.
for the
Is
most
there?
part, no, I don't. I'm a few. I mean, look, there are some younger, you know, 20 somethings that do for sure, and I know those people, and
Yeah,
they have reached out
yeah,
to me, and we get together and we talk.
yeah.
But it's not the norm. The norm is kind of really confused and disillusioned, and they don't know what to do.
So maybe you hit it on the head right there, as you tend to do. Like that's a great idea. So why don't we do that? And why don't we, let's suggest that. Let's maybe everybody who's listening, whoever the 3 or 4 of you that are out there, we should do that. Like go think about who you might know, maybe a friend or a friend's got a kid or something, and think about it. Think about how you can maybe be helpful. Maybe you can make a suggestion to somebody, and maybe you do a small little event, and instead of just inviting people that are your age group or you invite someone who's a college grad or who's about to go to college or whatever, and just engage with them and learn from them and ask them real questions and listen. Like don't tell them their answer. Like
Hmm.
and just start. We can all do it. Like we've said this before. Like it's a different topic about impact, right? But like everybody can have an impact. Everybody can have impact every single day of the week. Period. You can hold the door for somebody and you can make their day a little bit better. You can, help someone with their bags and they can't get into the building or can't get into the car or whatever. I mean, you can help. We can all do something. So that's not a huge lift. That's not a huge lift to kind of somebody in your network, somebody you're connected with on LinkedIn, somebody whatever someone's got a kid or look, you've had it, right? Like friends of yours have asked you to talk to someone's cousin. I've had people say, "Hey, can you talk to my niece's friend or my sister's daughter's friend or whatever?" Sure.
Yeah, but you know where I think that is coming from the adult. I don't
Okay.
think it's coming a lot from the actual person in question. I
Yeah, but if
think
they don't know how to do it
the
themselves, we have to help them.
majority
That's
just don't know. They just don't know what to even ask and who to ask.
but that's where we have to, right? But isn't that the part that's the job of an adult, right? It's the job of an adult to help
It
a
is
child.
the job. I think it's the job of the adult, but there's got to be some buy-in from that generation to be open, because you can say it, but is it being heard? You know,
Well, yeah,
so
I
that,
hear you. I hear you. I hear
yeah,
you. But I think there's enough. I think yeah, I hear you. I think if you do it so like my like my friend Danielle who really
yeah,
works in that
hmm,
space and she works in and she created that thing called friendship and all this sort of stuff and she works in that space and she talks about that about you have to kind of listen to the other person like it's a traditional historically. I think there's more and more, let's say in the current time, that people of whatever age, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, that are listening differently. But historically, it would be like, this is how you do this. You don't ask questions. You listen and you speak with. Okay, well, so if the older generation actually asks the questions and actually listens to what the person's saying, you're not going to agree. Like you're not going to agree. Going in, you're not going to agree. That's okay. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up and listen. Listen to them and really, really, really listen what they're saying, what they're feeling. And don't talk down to them. Like, listen because ultimately you will benefit from them being more equipped and better in society. You, as the older person, will benefit more than
hmm,
they will.
hmm,
So, if you think you're doing it just because you're this beautiful person helping, no, you could be selfish. Do it because you are going to be older and you're going to want that person to take care of you, not specifically, but that generation. So it's really in everybody's best interest to kind of adjust and not do the same thing that was done to them because that's not beneficial. It
yeah.
just isn't. And that's, I think if we work on that, if everybody worked on that just a little bit, it could really change so many things. And it's the littlest stuff. It's the littlest stuff. It could be somebody at the coffee shop or somebody at the restaurant or somebody at the movie theater that you can just tell they don't know how to interact with you. So you soften yourself a little bit and you interact with them.
Hmm.
And then it changes things. It just changes things. It changes an energy and it just changes things. It just can make things so much better.
Well, I mean, I think for all the young people that I'm thinking about, the thing that I hear them all say is that they want to work. They want to actually be busy at a job doing something that they feel that they are really contributing their talent, their brain, their energy. And it is so hard for them to match up with that opportunity.
Yeah.
And as like AI is, even though I love I mean, we're in such a transitional time. So here's AI coming in and basically doing the job of maybe a team of people, really. And well, I laugh at that just because it's astounding. Honestly, you see the strategic plans that I've been coming up with the help of my chat GPT. Like,
Wait, that's not you?
but I mean, a year ago, I wouldn't even begin a strategic plan. And now I'm, blowing them out
You're knocking them out. You're just knocking them
like
out.
insanity. But the point is, like, we're the whole world is in such a transition of what people do and how they transition from learning in a college environment to transitioning into being on their own and earning their own money and making a living. And we're in a funky time. We're
Yeah.
in a funky time, and transitions are always hard. But once we get through it,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be freaking awesome. But right now, nobody's really paying attention to it. It just happens that I have 20 something year old children. And, so I have nieces, I have nephews. I see a lot of kids I know in this space. And being the person that I am that's thinking all the time about, you know, themes of life, I can't help but wish we weren't fighting so much as a nation and wish we were putting our heads together to help this generation that's coming up right now that's really struggling.
Yeah. I hear you. I mean, Look, I'm confident we'll get there, but I think kind of continuing to have these conversations and being open minded to it, I think is the way forward. I think
Yep.
that's how we have to do it. And like they're the ones who say it to us if we listen. Like they're the ones who are saying like I don't want to go down the same road that you did or grandparents did or whatever. Like they tell you that, and so we have to listen and think of like how to kind of adjust because it's natural. We're just going to tell them what we thought. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting topic, that's for sure. Okay, well, moving on to our next topic: faith, politics, and fear.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna take a second there and process that. You know, I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and politics came up a little bit, and not in a
Really?
bad way.
Politics came up in a
I know,
conversation?
but that's kind of what we kind of circled around to was like it's interesting that you used to be able to. There was a time that you could be like I'm into politics, I'm not into politics, and it didn't matter, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were into politics, you were into politics. It's okay, it's no big deal. I mean, yes, it's good to pay attention. You should know what's going on, but there's a time that it didn't matter, and now that's just not possible. I mean, there still are people that are like, I don't watch the news, I don't listen to the news, I don't read the news, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're. I mean, okay, like sure, but really, you can't. You just can't. Like it has gone past everything that politics somehow is involved in every single thing of society. I don't think necessarily that's the most healthy thing in the world, but currently it's important. And
It's
faith
trending. It's
in
trending
for a
right
lot of
now.
people has faith is trending now too.
Yeah.
So there's politics where all these people are very political, and you see a lot of friendships that have just broken. Friendships, relationship, romantic relationships, business relationships, families that have like just like totally separated over politics. Then you have faith, which when people are scared or there's a tendency to gravitate towards having faith in some sort of higher being of some sort, whatever you choose, it's your own choice. That has become a thing because there's a fear, right? Like there's this fear that you have. And so all these things have now crossed. And it used to be that you could be a religion and that was fine. And you could be another religion and that was fine. And everything was, it was not okay because obviously there were wars and all that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that. But there was a time that we were getting to this better place of like, faith is fine, politics is fine, but we can still get along. As humans, we can still get along. You're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're a socialist, you're this, you're that, whatever. It's fine. No problem. It wasn't like, like you're not this, like, you're the enemy, you're the devil, you're this. You're that. Now it's gotten to this thing where it's just overtaken everything. And it can't continue like this. Like this sort of way of being starts to get really, really confusing.
Yeah.
Um,
Faith has become more political and it feels very confusing. To me it feels confusing. I was raised Catholic. I went 12 years to Catholic school. I went to Penn State, which was non-denominational, and then Parsons. And so my faith got picked back up when I had a family and I had young children and they got baptized and we started them in Catholic school and my children went to Catholic school. The thing that is confusing from my point of view, this is my personal point of view, when I think of my Catholic religion, I really think about Jesus. Like what I have retained and what I hold in my own heart is that Jesus was so kind and loving and forgiving and benevolent. And I struggle personally, this is my own personal opinion, that I struggle with how politicized religion has become, especially the whole idea of Christianity, that evangelical kind of religious views. I don't see how they align with the kindness and the benevolence and the forgiveness that the teachings of Jesus Christ were. And I find that very confusing.
I don't know that it's any specific, like Catholicism or Christianity in and of itself is a little confusing. I think to a lot of
Mhm.
people that aren't some
I'm
form of
sure
that,
it
it's
is.
confusing. There's Christianity, but then there's Catholicism, and then there's the different, there's the evangelicals, and there's Baptists, and there's the Protestants, and there's it's a little confusing to know, like, as an outsider. I say that with full respect. Like, I've known people of each,
Hmm.
and I'm like, okay, well, you all believe in Jesus, so it's just like a little version of whatever, which is fine. And again, it's totally fine. Whatever you believe in, not to sound funny, but God bless you. Like, you're entitled to believe whatever you believe in. It gets a little tricky when these people that we think are religious, because they say they're religious, they go to church, or they go to synagogue, or they go to the mosque, or whatever, and then they act in a way that is so contrary to that. Like, it's very
Yeah.
hard. It's just really hard to follow, and you just don't know anymore. And then when they throw in this, this negativity or this hatred, and then the fear part comes in, right? And it seems like religion and politics are both using fear, like, as a tactic. Like, if you're
Mhm.
not with us, bad things will happen to you,
Or you're
and
bad.
you're bad.
If you
Yeah,
don't believe what we believe, then you're bad. And
yeah.
so I don't understand that. I don't understand that. That's not what Jesus would do. For me, like, I know because you're Jewish and I'm Catholic, although I'm not really a practicing Catholic, to be quite honest.
I've
I
always
mean,
loved
I
that
go
term.
to church. Well, I go to church when I want to do it for my mother. My mother's, she's very into that, and so I go with her sometimes. I have some triggers
Right.
around Catholicism based on my own personal experiences when I got divorced and how I was
Yeah.
treated, actually. So that's also confusing to me because, I go back to what Jesus would do. And to me, it's very simple. Like, you shouldn't be hating a group of people if you are religious. That
You shouldn't be
is
hating
very,
for people, period.
I know, it's very
Yeah.
contradictory.
Yeah.
So,
It's a very tricky thing. Look, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm Jewish, so I understand, and I've learned, and people have taught me, and I've read and listened to people, and all that sort of stuff. So I understand a little bit, certainly, about Christianity and Catholicism and all that sort of stuff. Not to the point of someone who is really in the religion and is following and doing all that sort of stuff. But from a Jewish perspective, we're not taught to hate. Like, it's not, but are there people in the religion that are very orthodox, that don't act the way really the Torah says you should act? Yeah, they do. They do bad things, and they shouldn't. And it doesn't make it right. No matter what the religion is, it doesn't make it right. But I think, they play on people with fear, right? So, like, if someone is, like, uneasy, or they don't know, they gravitate towards them. I think, like, the zealots, the whatever religion, they grab those people because they're like, oh, this person's not doing so well, or we can manipulate them, and they kind of grab them. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like they're using the religion as a ploy, and like
yeah,
politics does. And I think that's just, it's we have to kind of get to
or a
that
way to
better place.
shame you into doing
Yeah,
what they want you to do.
yeah, and I don't think it's right. I mean, I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, that I don't think it's right, but I mean, I think as a society we can work on that together. We can be open to people from other religions. We can be open to people within our own religion, to kind of have conversations and have dialogue, and, like, not allow this fear tactic or this manipulation to be like, there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible, or reading the Torah, or reading the Bible, reading the stories that we were told, reading the commandments or the rules, or it's a good thing to do that. It's a good thing to learn. You can decide what works for you. You can decide what applies to you. That's okay. So
Yeah.
come to your head, whatever you want, whatever you believe, you believe. It's okay. But, you know, and I think that's fine. I think it's good for that to be encouraged to learn that. But I don't think it's healthy to preach negativity or to preach fear or to scare people. But I think, like I said, all these things have kind of come together in this weird
right
way.
now, right
Yeah.
now.
And I don't,
It's part of this time we're living in.
yeah. And I mean, it's like, I mean, did the politics learn from religion on how to manipulate? Did religion learn from politics? It's like they're in cahoots in a way. And again, it makes no sense.
Oh,
Like,
well, I mean, it goes back a long way, obviously. It goes back thousands
sure.
of years where governments used religion for power and for control. And
Yeah.
I feel like right now there's a weird shift around that, and it just I don't know, it just feels so obvious to me it's being misused. And I just kind of feel like I'm in the twilight zone sometimes, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, for you, you had, I mean, you had the Catholic upbringing, which was fine, right? I mean, for the
Yeah, I
most
mean,
part.
yeah, I didn't have a problem with it until I went away to college and I kind of learned more about the world. I believe that religions are here to help guide us to be better people. It's like a general
Yeah,
framework
yeah, yeah. I
to
think that's
help
right.
be a good person. I don't need a set of, personally, I don't feel like I need a set of rules that I have to follow to be a good person. I feel like I am a good person just because I want to be. I don't need to follow a rule to say, okay, I'm a good person.
Well, but
So,
do you feel that maybe that part of your education is that's how you learned that? You learned what a good person means.
yeah, I did. I studied the teachings of Jesus, and was a really good person. So I do believe he existed. I personally don't believe all the little, magical stories, but that's just me. I think they were designed or written to teach a lesson. That's on my own personal belief. I'm not pushing my beliefs on anybody,
No.
and I think all religions are good. I mean, to each his own. It's not kind of how I go through life.
Yeah.
But when I see things that are supposed to be good and benevolent, and then I see, well, you're this person, but then you hate these other people, like that, it's like putting oil in water for me. Like, it just stands out to me as that's a problem. We need to
Yeah.
have some awareness around this.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we've talked about this. Like, I see it a little bit different. I get where you're coming from, and I think that's very fair. I don't care. Like for me, I don't care. I don't care if someone who's Jewish does things that are not the way I think it's supposed to be or the way I read it, the way I learned it. You don't want to do it, don't do it. Like it makes, whatever. Don't bother me. I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you ask me, I'll tell you what I think. If you're asking my opinion, you want to do this, don't do that. Good for you. I don't like it if it's going to affect, not me personally, because I'll defend myself. I don't like if you do something that's going to affect other Jewish people. Like then I might step in. Like you doing this thing is going to hurt other people. Okay, now maybe I'm going to step in. But if you do something and I don't like it, you know, whatever. There's other things to deal with. But I think I think like you said, I think there's things that we learn, and some of those I think those things are good. I think at the core they're really good things. And you like you said, you're a good person because you're a good person. You don't need those rules. But there's certain things that you were taught growing up within the religion and at home, which is your parents are religious to a certain extent. You went to church. They went to you follow holidays. They say grace before every meal, which is really beautiful. Like
You don't need to
there's
be religious to say grace before a meal.
no, and I'm not saying that term. I'm saying, but right, but I'm saying these are just certain things that they did it. They didn't just wake up one morning and say, "I'm going to say grace." They learned it through the church or through a priest or
And
through a
family
nun.
traditions, you
Yeah,
know?
these things were taught to them, and just like we
Mhm.
had, right? Like we were taught certain things.
Yeah.
A lot of not a lot, some of it or most of it maybe is inspired by the religion that you are, grace, respecting your elders, whatever it is. Like there's certain things you learn, and then it becomes part of who you are as a person, and that's the beauty. And these are the beautiful things about religion. Like these are the beautiful things about religion. But there are cultures that do that that don't have a religion attached to it, and they just do it because it's humanity. It's the way the world should be. So there's something very deep and beautiful about that, and I just hope that we get back to the deep, beautiful spiritual part of it, because that's a beautiful thing. Like that's just a beautiful thing. Like it's like, I mean, I talked to that friend that I spoke to, that I had coffee with the other week, whatever. We talked about that, and I explained to him what the high holy days were, and I explained to him what like Yom Kippur was. He's like, oh, it's like our Ramadan, and it was just like, yeah, it was very natural. It wasn't like I'm wrong, he's right, he's wrong, I'm right. No, it's like, oh, you do that, oh, that's cool. Oh, we do this,
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
that, yeah, that my religion's better. That's all bullshit. You
Yeah.
know, like,
But it's in this fear thing. That's where the fear thing is, right? Like if you don't follow my religion, you're a bad person. I have to kill you.
yeah.
So,
And what is it for? It should religion should be about connection. It should make us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. You know, honestly, I'm a golden rule kind of person. You know, like do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. I think about that all the freaking time when I'm trying to make a decision about what should I do in certain situations. You know, how hard is it to determine, well, I'm not going to do that because I wouldn't want that done to me. How hard is that?
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, look, I think right. Look, I think that having these basic things that we're taught early on, I think that helps. And then, but then we have to do what we do. We have to kind of figure it out on our own. We have to kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
navigate life. And I just think that the fact that these things have all started crossing. I mean, when you think about it as Americans, that's the foundation of this country: separation of church and state.
Oh,
Like that
yeah.
that is why we start. That's why we came here, or that's
And very clearly stated by the founders of the country. I've seen some things lately that reiterate with the actual documents, like not someone's perception or
yeah, yeah,
someone's
actual
like
words.
actual documents.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is really, it's happening all over the world. It's
I
happening all
know
over the
we're
world.
in a this is a global transition in every single way,
Yeah,
every single way. And I just, I get it why some people are like, "Damn, why am I alive during this phase?" Because it's difficult. It's difficult
yeah,
to stomach, the things that our kids have to deal with now after like trying to give them every benefit, every opportunity in the world to see them struggling in this new society that's emerging with religion, with politics, with a way of life, with how they support themselves. It's difficult, you know?
yeah. But I look. I think. I mean, I'm confident we'll get through. I mean, in as crazy as a lot of things are, there's certainly a lot of good things out there too, and I think there are greater connections that are happening, and spiritually speaking, and emotionally, and in business and in society. I mean, I think there are these things that are evolving, and we have to just kind of strive to be better, and we have to pay attention when we see the fear tactic, when we see the negativity. We have to kind of tap the brakes. And I think it's a little bit everything, right? I think part of it is protect yourself. Like if there's people coming at you with things that are negative or making you feel negative, then you just gotta stop that. You gotta somehow step back, whether it's a friend, if you go to a church, if you go to a synagogue, you go to a mosque, and they're preaching something negative, you can leave and go to another one. Like you can go to another one if you still believe you want to have something, you want to be attached to a higher calling. I think that's great. I think that's great.
Mhm.
But you don't have to listen to that rabbi or that priest or that or that cleric. Like you don't have to. Like you just don't have to. Like you can look at different ways. There are options now. It isn't like 500 years ago where there was one in the town and that was it, and you couldn't go elsewhere. So I think we have to do the work ourselves too. But I think if more and more people are conscious of that, and more people are like, you know what, that fear tactic's not going to work on me anymore, that's a big step because they do it because it works.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If the fear tactic didn't work, they'd try something else. And that's okay. Let them try something else. But we can do this. I challenge everybody here to kind of think that through a little bit. And what can you do to kind of be more conscious about what's going on, what your intake is.
Hmm.
And again, I'm certainly not religious in the true sense of the word, and in the way I was when I was in a different time, but I am in my heart. I'm deeply religious in my heart, and I feel a connection, but that's me.
But
That's me.
Jay, also like the way you move through the world is anyone who really knows you, who has taken the time to actually know you, you are one of the most giving of yourself people that I've ever met.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
And I have to say, with all this stuff, I mean, it probably sounds like I'm saying all this negative stuff. I'm saying the truth. Okay, this is like what's happening. But with all of that, I think it is an opportunity, and it is an opportunity that I have taken advantage of to really go deep inside myself and to say, hey, what's really important to me? You know, is it, making X amount of money, dollars, the job, being known, whatever. And then you really come to this place of, what is truly at the core of your happiness. And I think one of the ways that it makes me feel better and it makes me feel more grounded is to really look at all the good things in my life and have some kind of gratitude practice. Like for me, as long as, my two daughters are healthy and doing okay, and other people in my family that I love are okay, that I have this wonderful, deep relationship with you who are so supportive of me. And if I can make my art, like to me, life is good. You know what I mean? And I think going
Yeah.
through this stuff and having an acknowledgement of what's really happening and then looking at your gratitude, I think that that'll help us navigate shitty times.
I think you hit on that, and I have to say, I mean, I seeing how you processed some of these things that have come at you, and you've had a lot of shit come at you, over the years, and how you've kind of somehow figured out a way to kind of get your bearings a little bit, plant your feet, like really plant your feet on the ground, and do things. And I think we just talked about it the other day. Like you're going and you're doing these things, and things that are not necessarily always that comfortable, but you're doing it, and you're pushing through, and you're learning, and you're adapting, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, it's a blessing to be part of the journey, and to be here and seeing you evolve. And your art was always amazing, but it's like you can see it's like gone to another level, already, and you can see that's only going to continue. And seeing the relationship with your family, how it's gotten stronger. Like sometimes people have their relationships with their family and it deteriorates over years. It just deteriorates. It happens. People get busy, things change, and you have made it such an important part of your journey to build strong relationships, and with your family, with your mom, with your sisters, with your daughters. Like you've helped them in so many ways. Like it comes from that place that that is within you. And I think, yeah, I think you're a great example for a lot of people to learn from. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I think.
Well, I appreciate that. The thing that has been running around in my head, and I know I said it to you, I think this morning, a lot of things are uncertain right now,
Yeah.
in my own world included. And, you don't get up every day and do the things that you do with like, oh, if I do this great thing's going to happen. You actually really don't know. You're going to do the hard work. You're going to do your strategic plans. You're going to get out there and go to these events one after the other when you really just want to stay in and watch, whatever show you're watching on TV. But I'm going to go to art openings tonight and I'm going to try to meet, a couple curators. And I'm doing all this because you know what? I'm alive. I'm alive and I'm living life. I am not at home in front of the TV, although you know me, I love to watch my shows. I'm in it. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to turn out good or it's going to turn out like shitty. I don't. But I'm living. And I
You
think
know,
that's the lesson.
look, I mean, just, we can kind of wrap this one up here. I mean, you do have faith and you have a
Yeah.
core faith in in the most beautiful way, right? Like I have a faith in my way, you have a faith in your way. You have that. And you know that that comes with a certain level of responsibility, right? Like, and that responsibility is to live life. You've been given this gift of life and you're like, well, I can flounder it and just whatever and not and be a negative, and I can have a different negative attitude about it. Instead, I could be like, no, I'm grateful for this life and I'm going to do these things. I was given it as a seed. I'm planting it, and every day I'm going to plant a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, not looking for something per se, but because that's part of my faith and that's part of what you do. And I think it's beautiful. You believe in yourself. You believe that there's something to what you're doing and that there's value in it. Whether your purpose is to make your kids' lives better, that's part of your purpose. If it's to help your mom through her life and the things that she has gone, or your sisters, or your friends, or to touch somebody that you don't even know that could change their life to do whatever, that's part of your journey. And I think it's beautiful that you do it. You do it every day, and it's great. And I think if everybody can do that, like what you do is amazing, but that's you. So, okay, sorry, kids, you can't do what she does, but you could do what you do, and that's beautiful too. And I think we all can do that. We all could do that. We all could learn from that. And that's that. Class dismissed. Okay. Well, I think that was some good stuff. I think it's probably time for God, what is that called? Rapid fire time. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will ask you the rapid fire questions, Mr.
You're gonna go
Schwab.
first. Uh oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're doing that so you have more time for the answers. I'm on to you.
No, it's not.
I'm on to you. I'm on
It's
to you.
not. But I'm not sure if I actually got this right. The first question is
It's a two-part question.
it is. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Our producer, Ferrum, thought it was one or the other, but I thought it was what you said. Okay, so here's the first question. What is your favorite pickle and what is your favorite type of pasta?
So pickle is B&G pickles,
Okay.
and I used to have a
Are
T-shirt.
they sold nationally? Because I know you're a New Yorker and I.
They're definitely in New York for sure. I think they are national, but they are just incredible. And I used to have a T-shirt. I used to have a T-shirt that I had to send in for, and it was a picture of a pickle, and it said, "I'm a B&G pickle eater." And I just can't believe that T-shirt somehow got lost along the way, because it was just, I'm going to make it again one day. I'm going to have that
Okay.
one made for me one day. So, but it's so I like pickles in general. Like
Mhm.
B&G, like the kosher dill crunchy is like my favorite. That's my favorite one. But in general, I lean towards like that dill or sour. I'm not a big sweet pickle person,
Yeah.
but I won't say no to a cornichon. Like I just don't feel like
Cornichon. They're cute.
if you have a cornichon and you want to offer it to me, I promise you I will not say no.
Okay.
And pasta, well, I mean, obviously,
No,
you mean,
really.
you mean
What's your
actual
favorite
pasta?
pasta?
You mean
Yeah.
actual pasta? Well, you're my favorite pasta, but I like me a penne.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I like me a
With
penne.
ridges or flat?
See, okay, so to me, penne is with the ridges. To me, flat is a ziti.
Oh, that could be. Okay, that could
So I
be.
like it. I like it with the ridges.
Yeah.
I like it when it's cut diagonal. I like it when it's cut straight.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's a penne is probably my favorite. But I like like pasta. Like I like most pasta.
Yeah, we don't eat it very often, but it is yummy.
No, but I do
We're
like
going
it.
to eat it soon. I'm going to make a good homemade sauce soon. Okay,
Okay.
second question. What is your favorite workout? I
That's a
know,
trick.
it's a fun
That's a
one.
trick question. Getting up and making coffee.
There you go.
No,
Perfect.
I really don't. I know no, I don't. I don't. I feel terrible about it. Like it's embarrassing how bad a shape I'm in. I say that like I'm 800 pounds. Like I'm not like it's not that. I know what it's
You
like to
just
be
don't
in
work out.
shape.
That's all.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be in shape, and I know what I feel like now, and I'm not there. So I haven't found. I would like to find what that thing is,
Maybe while you're sleeping, they could develop something that you're working out while you're sleeping.
but I'm not. That's the problem. I'm not sleeping when I'm sleeping. So I'm working
Then
out
you
while
might
I'm
as well be
sleeping.
working out in your sleep,
Good
in
point.
your non-sleep.
That's
Okay.
that's that's the best medical advice I've gotten all
I
day.
know. See? The ideas just are abounding. Okay.
Amazing.
Your first car and why you had to have it.
It was a Mazda GLC stick shift with a cracked windshield, um,
Oh my God.
and basically, I don't think any brake pads left on them. And I had to have it because I had to have it. Like I had to have a car, and that was the car that I saw, and I'm like, I'm taking it. That was it. It's the
Hey.
stupidest thing ever. My father was like, I just don't. There's like that's such a Jay move. Like Jay had to have it, and Jay had it, and that was it. And I had to learn how to drive a stick shift. I didn't even know how to drive a stick shift.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my
I,
first
I
car.
was taught on a stick shift.
So was I. I mean, I learned. I knew how to drive. I just didn't know how to drive a stick shift. But then I had to learn. So,
Hmm.
all right, you ready?
Okay. Coming back. Yep.
Okay. Favorite pickle?
Okay. So I would say my favorite pickle are the little mini dill pickles by Clausen, I think the name is.
Yeah, it's
And
classic. They come cold. You buy them in the fridge.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like them
right. No, but
cold.
mine you don't.
Oh, well, I
The
like
B
them
and the B and
cold.
G's you buy in the regular shelves, and the Clausen you buy in the refrigerator section.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I like the little mini dill Clausens. I could eat a whole jar of those. I try not to, but I could.
And you like the juice too.
Oh yeah, I will drink some pickle juice. Definitely. I like that salty pickle.
Vinegar. Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, we used to drink the remains of the salad. The vinaigrette.
Yeah.
The olive oil and the vinegar. Who
I
somebody
like
would
it too.
drink that.
I like it too.
Somebody
Yeah.
would
I
drink
don't
that.
do it when I'm at a restaurant, but I do it. I like it at home.
Yeah, these are things that you do around your family. When you're a child, not you know, or by yourself when no one's looking.
Yeah. Not at a business dinner. Not at a business dinner.
No,
Definitely
no,
not.
no, no.
Um,
So that's that.
okay. Favorite
Oh,
pasta?
oh, the pasta. Geez, I really do love pasta. For some reason, rigatoni is coming to mind. I think I'm just
Oh,
craving like having
I like a
rigatoni.
rigatoni too. I like a
Yeah,
rigatoni.
like a good al dente rigatoni, de Cecco. I like very much. Yeah, so we might have
Okay.
to have that soon. Because once I start
Okay.
thinking about the food, then I have to eat it. So
Fair
that
enough.
means I'll have to make it, which is all good.
Yeah. All good for me. Favorite workout?
Um, well, I do love to work out, and I like working out with weights, free weights. I think that's really fun. I mean, honestly, I love working with the trainer. Don't always get to work out with trainers, but a good weight workout with a trainer is one of my favorite things.
But like, is there a specific type of thing? Like, is it a cardio workout? Is it a weights
No,
workout?
cardio workout is not a weight workout. So this would be purely
Or
like a
weights, pure weights?
resistance,
Weights.
like pure resistance kind of training session.
Okay. First car and why you had to have it.
My first car was a great car. I was 16, and my parents, I went car shopping with my parents, and honestly, I wasn't expecting my parents to buy me a car, but they did. And they bought me this beautiful, I remember it. It was a Mazda 626. I don't know if you like remember that, but it had a sunroof and it was brand new and it was this metallic baby blue. And I just couldn't, they bought it and I couldn't believe they bought it. Like I felt like a spoiled kid, even though I was not raised as a spoiled kid at all. It was like something out of the ordinary for me growing up. I got this beautiful car when I was
Is
16.
that four door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
It's
the
funny
two
that we
back
both had
doors were
Mazdas.
smaller.
It's funny that we both had Mazdas.
I know. That is funny. I guess it was a really popular car back in the
Nah.
80s.
When
Yeah,
I got mine, it
80s.
wasn't that popular. Whatever. Interesting. That's funny. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I think that's a wrap, boys and girls. Anything else to close out with? Anything you have to say?
Nope. Just be nice to each other.
That's good. And on that note, we shall bid you adieu. Until next time, boys and girls. Bye.
Bye bye.